In this video, we're going to look at resizing an image in Photoshop because we need to resize it to a certain specifications there, 6x6. So we're just going to try that out. Number one, I have an image here. This image I found, I actually took myself. I took it on my iPhone. I imported it into my computer. Or if you found an image online that you've liked as well, it doesn't really matter as long as it's some type of visual graphic we can use. Mine happens to be an HEIC that comes from my iPhone, which has all this information in it. It could be a JPEG, a PNG, a TIFF, anything like that. It's very easy. So all I'm going to do is take this image here that I have. There are a couple different ways to open it up. I can just go to my Photoshop and go to File, Open, and then from there I can open an image from where I have it. It's on my desktop. Once again, 8338, there it is, and I can open it. I'm not going to do it that way, just to show you. I'm also going to do another way. That is one way. I'm going to click the image, drag it onto Photoshop on my dock, and it's just going to open up. So it's going to open up in its own tab, which is great, and there it is. So I'm going to work on a Joy-Con here, and the image obviously is not the right size that I want it to be. If I want to find the actual size it is, that's all I go to is image size. And I see that it is really big. It's 42 by 56 inches, but the resolution is 72. And that's okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. It doesn't need to change. I'm just gonna cancel that, not a problem. I need to fit this image into a 6 by 6 inch box, more or less, because I'm gonna print that and then I'm gonna render that later on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a new document that is exactly 6 by 6, and when I bring this in, I resize it and it's going to print off exactly 6 by 6 and is perfectly exactly what I need. So I'm going to go to File and New, or you can use the shortcut Command N. And that's it. I've already set this up before, so on my right side, which is my custom panel, I don't have to worry about any of my presets or any of the information over here. I have 6 by 6 inches, but this is also important. You have to make sure the resolution is 300 pixels per inch, because this is what we need for print. Some of you might see it's at 72 pixels per inch. Not what we want. We want 300 pixels per inch, and also make sure it's pixels per inch, not pixels per centimeter, because then that would be huge. You can keep it as RGB, which is totally fine, or you can convert it to CMYK. In this situation, it doesn't really matter. I will keep it as RGB, and that is fine. And so I have 6 by 6, perfect, 300 pixels per inch, RGB. That's all I need to do, and I'm going to press Create. I'm going to have a blank document here, which is exactly 6 by 6 inches. I have my layer, which I could just click off the lock, and now it's not locked anymore, but once again, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to bring in this new image. The way I'm going to import this image into this is a couple different ways to do it. It's really easy. I could either just, I'm going to click off this lock here as well on this layer. I can either just click and drag it and hover over my new document that showed up and just keep my click on. I haven't let go of my click yet. Drag onto my canvas and just let go of my click. And there it is. And perfect. We see how the image is actually much bigger on my 6 by 6 inch artboard here. So what I can do now is, actually I'm going to leave it at that. What I could also do to copy it in is really simply, I'm just going to click on my layer. I could Command C, or on a PC, PC is Control C, or just edit and copy. And I'm going to go to my new document again and Command V or Control V or paste. And there it is. It shows up again. You see 2 layers there. But once again, I only need one of them. But just to show you, there are a couple different ways to bring the image in to your new artboard, or your new document, whatever you want to consider that. So that's it. It's in there now. Say, you know what? It's not exactly how I want it. It's a little too, it's getting cut off. So how do I resize it? Really simply, that's all you have to do is go to Edit and Free Transform, which is going to be Command T. Right here, Free Transform, Command T. So I'm just going to do that, Command T, and there it is. That's the actual size of the box, the image. So I could just bring this, click on a corner, and once again, we want to scale it down proportionally. We don't want to squeeze it or stretch it. I'm just going to click and drag and stretch it. Now, in Photoshop, the latest versions of Photoshop, you don't have to hold down Shift or anything like that in order to keep it proportional. But there's also some options you can change up here, which I'm not going to do. So if for some reason it's scaling improperly, then you would hold down Shift. If I hold down Shift right now I'm scaling it in a very weird way, which I don't want. So I'm just going to scale it down, grab in the corner of my new bounding box. I'm just going to try to position it. Now I'm going to scale it down here, and I'm going to kind of grab the picture and kind of resize it here. And for me, I want it to fill up the space well, because I'm going to render it and fill up the space. So I'm also going to try to keep my, my shadow in there. And once again, I'm not going to render the background. I'm only concerned about the actual object and the shadow as well, because I might want to render that shadow, which I think would be a good idea too. So, I'm going to bring it down just a little bit more. If I hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC, I'm actually going to be able to drag it from the center. I could actually scale it down right from the center. Okay, so I'm going to say right about there. Pretty happy with that. Oh, let's do that again. Okay, and now once I'm happy with the way it's going to look here, I can just press Enter, and now it is set. So my bounding box is gone, and if I ever want to resize it again, once again, Command T, looking good. It's up to you how you want to do that. Great. So I'm happy with that. Looks good. All I have to do now is I could print this. So I could just Command P or Control P, or just go to File, Print. Wherever print is, I always miss this one. There we go, print at the bottom, Command P. So I'm going to Command P, and what I could do if I'm going to print this, it's right there. See, so this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I would go to select the printer that I want to select. Mine is currently selected there. I only need one copy, and position it. It's centered perfectly. I'm not going to touch how I want to scale it. It's exactly what I want. It's a perfect 6x6, scaled at 100%. That's how I want. I would just press print, and it would print. Now, there's a couple of things you could do prior to that. You could print that one, it's great, or you can save it as an image. Say I want to save it just as its own image. Number one, I can save this as a Photoshop file. So I could just go to File and save as, and on my desktop or wherever I want to save it, I can save it as a PSD file, so I could always go back to this and fix it and change it if I ever want to do that. My computer's going a little bit slower, but generally I could save it like that. So I'll go to my desktop and I'll say, Joy-Con, and I'll put it on my desktop for now, and I'll just say save. Cool, and it is a Photoshop file, so it's saved. Great, and it's called joycon.psd. Now, if I want to do something else here, which you can, I'm going to also make a version that is a grayscale version, and maybe that's going to help me. So this one right here is going to help me with my color, of course, the color version I need to make. But what about the grayscale version? Man, I could see that there's the values in here, and I can see what I need to do, but maybe there's an easier way to help me out do that. I'm going to go to Image and Mode, and I'm just going to go to Grayscale. Now this is going to change the whole thing, so there's a couple different ways to do this. I'm going to say don't merge, because I don't want to merge those two, and now there's my grayscale. Now it looks okay, it's not too bad, I don't mind what's going on there. So I could also do that, but like I said, there's another way to do that, which I kind of don't recommend that way, is just to go to down here. You could actually click on this little icon here, which is my adjustment layers. I'll click on that, and I'm going to go to my hue and saturation. I click on hue and saturation, and what it does, it brings up a new layer, and it brings up a mask. And what I can do is I can just bring down my saturation. And it kind of does the same thing, which is great. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And now I have, if I just shut this little eye icon off, which is the visibility of it, I could shut off the more or less the grayscale, the hue saturation layer, and I bring back my color, which is great. So I can kind of do it that way, which is awesome. And now I can print both. So if I want to print Command P, the color version, I'll print a color version. And if I want to print the grayscale version, I could print the grayscale version. And there it is, Command P once again. And that's it. I've saved. I have both ready to go. I'm looking good. And kind of no issues there. So now that I've got both ready, they're both going to be printed 6x6. I can now trace them onto my 6 different boards or 6 different pieces of paper, and I'm good to go. So I hope that helps. And let's see if we can scale these. And now we've learned how to scale kind of any picture we need to scale.